Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rant here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about EA's gambling addiction, because clearly EA is going through a rough phase in their life and they're just like completely addicted to gambling. Now, I am referring specifically to two games that I have played recently and did first impressions live streams on. Those games are naturally Need for Speed Payback and Battlefront 2. And I want to bring this up for a specific reason, because both of these games are taking a lot of backlash from the community, and I kind of fear that in the middle of all that backlash, the message might be getting through that it's just like, these are just trash games with trash content, trash microtransactions, trash everything, right? And I kind of feel that there's a little bit more to this discussion than just these are trash games, because in my personal opinion, I actually don't think that these are necessarily bad games. I just think that they have a really bad progression system, so deeply ingrained in them that it becomes a major problem when people are trying to review the game and they just come upon this thing and they can't even handle it anymore. I mean, even earlier today I was just watching Angry Joe's, I think he called it a rapid fire review, whatever, for Need for Speed Payback after I already done my own impressions and stuff. And it's like, again, I kind of felt like a lot of the stuff that he was saying echoed back the stuff that I was saying, which is like, I actually kind of like some of the stuff that is in Need for Speed Payback. I think it's a fun game when I'm playing it. The problem is the progression system behind it. And then we come upon Battlefront 2, which I wanted to play today before I actually got around to making this video, because I had already heard about all the loot box controversies. Hell, I even addressed it on some of my videos, but I wanted to see for myself what the loot boxes were like. I wanted to experience the gameplay for myself, because at the end of the day, it could have been the case where it's like, look guys, don't even worry about it because it's got all these bad loot boxes, but maybe the game's just trash, because that's something that I was like, maybe that's the case. Or maybe the game's actually good and maybe the loot boxes are the problem. And it turns out it was the latter. So these are two games that, in my opinion, both Need for Speed Payback as well as Battlefront 2, these are two games that are actually pretty decent. And I understand a lot of people are going to say, no, Need for Speed Payback is just trash anyways, because Need for Speed Payback is that game that is not for everyone. Some people do not appreciate a game where you don't have to think too much about the reality of what you are doing, and I'm just driving a car and making other cars blow up. But personally, I can appreciate the simplicity of that concept. I'm just ramming in the cars, they explode in spectacular fashion. You know, there's entertainment value in that kind of stuff, at least in my opinion. Like I said, it's not for everyone. Maybe some people are not into that type of stuff. I kind of just like sometimes playing a good, dumb game where I'm just going around, crashing into other cars, racing, doing completely realistic things like, oh, I'll just tap the e-brakes here and I'll completely do this 90-degree corner. No problem whatsoever. You know, I understand that that is not for everyone. I get it. People are much more into Sims nowadays and they want their GTs and their project cars and that kind of stuff. And I respect that. But I still like a little bit of silliness in an arcade racer every now and then, which is why I was saying, I like some of the aspects in Need for Speed. But then when you get to the progression system, and again, if you look at these two games, where is the problem in these two games? The problem is in the exact same place, which again shows you that this is not about the people who are developing the game, because there's always teams that are working on the development of the game, there's teams working on the testing of the game, and then there's teams that are working on the marketing and the PR and all this other stuff. So I don't know which of departments at EA is fucking stuff up, because I could say it's the marketing department, but maybe they have a department dedicated to the process of microtransactions, a department dedicated to progression systems in video games. I don't know which of their departments is, you know, making these progression systems the way they are. But clearly, what we have here, again, in my opinion, is we got two completely different games, right? We got Need for Speed Payback and we got Battlefront 2. These are two games, they're completely different, developed by two completely different teams, and they are implementing what is, in its essence, if you really boil it down, in its essence, it is exactly the same progression system. Now, I know that a lot more people will have played Battlefront 2 than necessarily Need for Speed Payback, so let me break it down for you here real quick. The progression system in Need for Speed Payback works around these things called speed cards. Now, what are speed cards? Well, this is an upgrade that you put on your car. So what is the characteristics of speed cards that makes them be somewhat similar to star cards? It is their freaking random nature. They are super random. So for starters, when do you get speed cards? Well, you get your car, you go to a race, you finish a race like a new race or something, and you're gonna get yourself a speed card. Okay, that sounds okay, so how does that work? Well, you get to pick between 3 speed cards, but the really dumb thing, and I don't know if this changes further into the game because I haven't played, I think I'm like 5-6 hours into it or something, and at this point, here's how it works. 3 speed cards appear on screen. None of them tells you what they do. So there's just like 3 cards there. And it's almost like, you know how when you have a deck of cards, you put them on the table facing down. So you don't know what's behind the cards, but there's 3 there, and you get to pick one of those 3 cards. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why? Why do I need to pick 1 out of 3 cards? It's not like it's gonna make a difference if I pick left, right, or middle because I don't know what's behind any of them. It's completely random. Doesn't matter what I do. And ultimately, once you pick one of the speed cards, it's going to turn around, it's going to tell you the level of the speed card, which can vary. I don't even know what the maximum level, I think it's like 18 or something. It goes from 1 to 18. I'm not entirely sure if it's 18 or if it's 20, whatever. In my car, I think the best cards I've picked up so far were level 6. But ultimately, you know, you get a random level in that card, which instantly dictates how much benefit you're gonna get from that card. And then on top of that, you can also get random bonuses in that card, which will again affect the stats on your car. So like you can get a card for your ECU, which will improve certain stats on your car. I don't know exactly which stats it improves. And then that card can have also an additional boost to nitrous, top speed, and maybe your brakes. It can have up to 3. And again, it can have up 2. That means it can only come with only 1 upgrade, or 2 upgrades, or 3 upgrades. You know, it can have up to 3 upgrades. So just take a moment to think about how random that is. Now, each car can have, I think, about 6 parts for which you can get speed cards for. So you need, say for instance, you've been playing a car for a really long time, right? And say you've got like 4 speed cards that you really, really like. So at that point, in order for you to get an upgrade by just playing the game, I'm not talking about actually buying loot boxes or any of that nonsense, I'm just saying just playing the game, you will have to get into a race. You will have to win that race. Once you win that race, you will have to be lucky enough for the speed card that you get to not be one of the 4 speed cards that you already have locked down, which for starters, just for you to even get like 4 speed cards on lockdown on your car is probably quite the feat. And then after that, you're gonna have to be lucky enough for the speed card that you get on that race to not match any of the cards that you already have, and it needs to be a good level card, so it needs to be a high level card, and it needs to have good bonuses on it. Now, can you just see the amount of randomness that is present in a system like that? That's insane. And then you look at the loot crate system that they're implementing in Battlefront 2. So this was the first thing that I looked at when I was giving my multiplayer first impressions earlier today. And it's like, you get in there and there's like 3 crates that you can buy. There's the Trooper crate, there's the Starfighter crate, and there's the Hero crate. And you'd figure, okay, so these are meant for you to get star cards that are specific to the 3 different type of things that you can control in the game. Namely, you get to control troopers, you get to control your starfighters, and you get to control heroes, right? And you figured, okay, so if you get a hero loot crate, you're gonna get hero parts. Wrong. See, that's the other problem on it. So it's not even just the fact that, for starters, loot crates in Battlefront 2 are terrible to begin with. They're just bad by nature. But it's not even just that, but the version of loot crates that they've implemented goes one step further, which is in your Trooper crate, you can get, you have guaranteed one of the 3 cards, one of the 3 star cards that you get from your Trooper crate is going to be a Trooper card. So that's your only guarantee. You might get 2. I'm assuming there's an increased chance of getting 2 because they say you can get 1 to 2 Star Trooper cards. And it's like, so you can get 1 card, or if you're lucky, you can get 2 Trooper cards, but you're never, ever going to get 3 Trooper cards. At least that's what the loot description says. It specifically says there, you will get 1 or 2, and then you will get 1 card for one of the other items. And what are the other items? Anything else. That means you can get hero stuff, you can get starfighter stuff, and it doesn't make any sense. Because I mean, if I'm buying a Trooper loot crate, obviously I want loot for the Trooper class. That's what I want. Why would you want to give me anything else? Why can't you, at least in this system that you've designed, which nobody likes, at least try to give me something that I want? I don't want the other things, you know? Or if I'm buying a hero loot crate, I want star cards for hero characters. I don't want star cards for trooper characters, because if I wanted that, I would buy the loot crate for the trooper characters, okay? That is one of the things that really, really ticked me off from the get-go. Then naturally, there's also the fact that you need a lot of credits in order to unlock the heroes, and that's a whole other thing. It's like, come on, man, it's a multiplayer shooter game. You can't just lock heroes that are this amount of powerful behind a paywall, particularly when they're iconic characters like Luke and Vader on a Battlefront game. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I'm saying this as someone who EA sent me the Digital Deluxe Edition. So I already have Rey, and I have, what's the other guy? I forget his name, Kylo Ren. I already have Rey and Kylo Ren unlocked. And the interesting thing that I thought was like, after I redeemed all the loot crates that come with the pre-order bonuses and all this other stuff, my Rey was level 8. And I thought, well, isn't this interesting? I haven't even played as Rey. She's level 8. I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand the logic behind this system where I haven't even played this one character and she's already level 8. So basically what you're telling me is that you're rewarding me because I mean, not me specifically, but I'm saying anyone who purchased the version that EA sent me, which is like the Digital Deluxe, whatever. Anyone who purchased that version, you're rewarding them for the pre-order stuff by allowing them to skip a part of the game. Because let's face it, leveling up Rey should have been part of the game. Just like my Kylo Ren is also level 8, and I've only played with him once. And it's like, so you're rewarding people with, you know, just skipping parts of things. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. Like, people should want to play the game. People should want to level up these characters. It should be a fun experience. And that, I feel, is where you guys need to focus on, EA. You need to make it so that it's fun, so that we don't want to skip it, so that we don't want to like buy an EA Need for Speed loot crate, you know? So that we actually want to play the game, so that we actually want to do the races. That's what you should be trying to encourage. But it's like EA just completely lost their way. They're just, and I know this has been a long time coming because EA has been doing some pretty questionable things. I'm talking specifically about these two games and specifically about the whole cards thing, right? Because it's just, it is a gambling thing. Ultimately, it is a gambling thing. And the biggest problem with the fact that these loot crates being akin to gambling, let's even just say, let's say for instance, okay, let's say just for the sake of argument, let's say the whole system was fair. Let's say they were able to perfectly balance everything in a way that you unlocking the heroes is just a short matter of time of playing a little bit instead of you actually getting, having to grind for God knows how many ungodly amount of hours, which now has been reduced, whatever. Let's say instead of that, let's say everything was perfectly tuned so that the game could be played perfectly without you actually purchasing anything at all. It is still incredibly random because ultimately I don't have any control over what I'm going to get in those loot boxes. Like, sure, I get control in getting at least one guaranteed card for one guaranteed type of character, But even that, it's not even a type of character, it's a type of gameplay. It's like you can get one trooper card, one hero card, or one starfighter card. These are the only things that you can influence in that. And why is that a problem? So say for instance, I'm an officer, right? I really like playing the officer class and I want to become better at playing the officer class. There's no way for me to guarantee that what's going to come out in the loot boxes is going to actually improve me as an officer. I can get a heavy card. And you guys are like, oh yeah, but maybe you should try out the heavy class. It's like, dude, if I wanted to play the heavy class, how about I get a heavy class loot box or whatever, you know? I don't want to play the heavy class, I want to play the officer class. I get it, you want people to play the different classes. Sure, but that should be someone's decision. It should be a person's decision. It shouldn't be the game forcing that decision on you. And this randomness is the same thing on Need for Speed, because say for instance, if I'm someone who's actually really into cars, right? Say, I just happen, which is not the case for me, by the way. I'm not particularly into cars. I like racing, I like racing in video games, I like driving my car, but I'm not like a gearhead or anything, right? But say I am. Say just for the sake of argument that I am someone who's really into cars. What do you think I'm gonna wanna do when I pick up a Ford Mustang? I'm gonna wanna customize it in the ways that I personally want. I'm gonna wanna tweak it in a way that is like, okay, I want my Ford Mustang to have more acceleration, that's what I need. Or no, I need more braking power, or I need more top speed on my Mustang. I wanna be able to make these decisions myself. And ultimately, with the loot box system, even if you spend money on it, you don't have any control over what you're getting. There's just like zero control, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's like I want to be able to customize a car and tune it the way that I want to. I want to be able to decide, no, I want my car to go faster. I want my car, I mean, obviously go faster is a dumb thing. I want my car to have more acceleration. I want my car to have more top speed. I want my car to have better handling. You know, I want to be able to decide these things for myself, and I want to be able to upgrade my car and tune it according to those specifications. I don't want it to be left to random, because ultimately what happens is and I said it in my first impressions video, I said the same thing. It's like, I like this game. I cannot take the upgrade system seriously because it's random. Everything is completely random. And that's the problem. This is the same thing with Battlefront. It's like, maybe you really like playing heavy. Maybe you really like playing specialist. Maybe you really like playing this character or that character. You're not gonna have any control over whether or not you're gonna become better at playing those characters, because the progression system is fucking random. You might just be forced to play heavy, and maybe you'll even be miserable because you didn't want it to play heavy. Maybe heavy is not your playstyle. Maybe you're a sniper and you don't want to deal with this heavy nonsense, you know? It just doesn't make any sense. Or maybe I really want to be good with Han Solo. How am I going to make sure that I'm going to get upgrades for Han Solo? It's not. It's going to give me random upgrades. I mean, with my shitty ass luck that I tend to have on fucking loot boxes, I'm probably going to get like the best possible card for Darth Vader, who is still locked. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, these are good games. In my opinion, Need for Speed Payback, sure, it's not for everyone, but I still think it's a game that I could have fun with. Battlefront 2 is a fucking fantastic game. Are you kidding me? In terms of visuals, sound, the gameplay, just everything about that game is phenomenal. And then you put that asinine progression system in there and just throw it all out the window because nobody wants to deal with it. And it's a serious problem. And at this point, there are so many loot boxes throughout everything in the industry that even just trying to come up with a solution, I can't even think of it. And I know that a lot of people are just gonna say, oh, just don't have loot boxes. I know it's not that simple because there's server costs and there's costs of this. I'm not saying that they're not making money. I'm sure they're making money out of it. But ultimately, the problem is we've gotten to a point where they're going to have to lose money to get consumers back on track. And EA is not gonna do that. At least I personally don't see EA doing that. I've mentioned this in my multiplayer first impressions. I've said, the only way EA has right now to save Battlefront 2, because there's going to be constant backlash. Now, the thing is, they don't necessarily have to save Battlefront 2 if they don't want to, because there's this concept on the internet, they have to save it. Like, dude, understand something. I was playing Battlefront 2 today. The servers were so full, so packed. I was getting matches so fast that servers can't even keep up. So For all intents and purposes, as far as I can tell, Battlefront 2 is already a commercial success. So it's not like they have to save anything. They don't have to save nothing. I'm pretty sure the game's already a success. It doesn't matter what we do at this point. But if they want to gain the community's goodwill again, because the community is really against them right now, particularly with the comment, the Reddit comment, it's like the most downvoted Reddit comment in history. Although we also have to realize that is also because of shock effect. People just love shock effect nowadays. And it's like a friend told a friend, then everybody just starts like this chain thing. And everybody go downvote the EA comment. It's like, I understand. It's like that mob mentality of the internet. But ultimately, it's like, there's only one way for them to gain the goodwill of the community at this point, and that is to sacrifice some money. And by sacrificing money, I'm talking about them specifically unlocking everything for everyone. That's the only way I see this playing out in any positive fashion. That's probably not gonna happen though. But I still had to make a video about it because ultimately, again, I like these games, but the progression systems are just completely broken. I don't know what else to say about this. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like, super appreciate it. If you're new here, subscribe so that you're always notified when there's new videos or live streams in the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Comments and feedback in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.